Well, certainly from Scotland. Sorry, from Siberia. It's good evening, and over there on Crunch Island, it is
Siberia.
Still morning.
Anyway,
yes. it's what is it? Is it afternoon, evening, morning?
Yeah, it's 11
o'clock in the morning on Crunch Island. Excellent, good. How are you doing? First of all,
right.
You're a year older.
Possibly.
Yes. You and Jerome have the same birthday. We established that much. And it was early on in the week, and hopefully you had a good time, and hopefully not too many people were sending you condescending stuff about being a year older.
No, yeah.
You didn't get too much of that, did you?
I don't know. Not really.
People taking the mick.
No,
none of that.
That's just you.
Just
you're about
me.
to play your video now?
Do you want to play the video? Go on, and I'll play the video.
I figured you were about to.
Well,
it sounded like you were setting yourself up for it.
I suppose I'd better, hadn't I? I suppose I'd better play the video. But what I'll do is I'll. Do you want me to play the video?
I'm fine. It's fine. It's funny.
You sure? Yeah. Okay.
It's funny.
Okay.
It's
Let's find it then, because I must admit I didn't actually. There's you assuming that it would be ready to go, and it wasn't. So it's going to take me a couple of minutes to find it. The picture that I put on what's it called, a thumbnail? Is that the right term? Thumbnail.
Yeah.
For the video is of a place in Serbia, and I've got it behind me. What's the name of that place?
Oh, the name of it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Is MaM?
Yes, and it's in
Siberia,
and it's a diamond mine. Mm-hmm. And any idea how big it is? I would guess as to how deep it is. How wide across and how deep is it? Go on, hazard a guess.
It's about 5 3/4 football fields deep and about 10 across, a little over 10 across.
My goodness, that is massive, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is massive. Okie dokie. Question: is the state of Wisconsin in an even bigger hole?
Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Yep.
They should be in a deeper hole than that even. Mm-hmm. But because of the current state of affairs, and Tracy was pointing this out in her live yesterday, the current state of affairs is that the courts don't really take post-conviction seriously. Part of that is because they're so hell-bent and interested in finality.
Yeah.
That I think they need to be less hell-bent on it, because, justice is imperfect, and the stats are telling us that it's imperfect. So being so hell-bent on finality, I think, is counterproductive to the process of justice. But what she was getting at is that the whole post-conviction process is so difficult and so hard, and there's so many rules to prevent anybody from being able to bring their case in a post-conviction manner, that it's just a mess, and that's what needs to change. And folks, that's why it's important to take an interest in other wrongful convictions besides Stephen and Brendan. It's important to remain interested in Stephen and Brendan's as well, but it's important to look at others and to create a greater awareness of the fact that it's happening all across the country, everywhere in the country, that these things are happening. People, look, I'll put it the best way that it gets framed for me is watching Ricky Kidd in an interview when he tells you, when they arrested me for this and started and were accusing me of this crime and everything, he's like, I figured I was going to be getting off. I had no awareness of wrongful convictions. I didn't think they even happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way most people are, folks. Most people think they don't even happen. That's a problem. So that's part of why we need to be hammering that nail. We need to be hammering on that and creating greater awareness of, yes, this does in fact happen. And that is how we're going to make change, so that Stephen and Brendan and other wrongfully convicted, when they try to bring their post-conviction cases, that it won't be fraught with so many hurdles. I swear to God, I really want to throw a book at somebody in Wisconsin if they say procedural bar one more freaking time. I mean, oh, you had to call right now.
Yes.
So,
do you need to get that?
Yeah, well, yeah, go ahead. If I'm going to shut my camera down and my mic off for a minute.
Okie dokie. I'm just in the process of trying to find your video that I did for you. Let me see if I can find that. I'll just be a moment. And here we go. So yeah, the dude was telling me that he was off today, except of course that the boss can phone at any time. So anyway, not to worry. Let's see if I can click on that. Yep, and see if I can find the video with let's come back to that. So yeah, he'll be back in a wee moment. Let's see if I can find the video in question. I've got a few more questions for him as well. I'm sure you have as well. And I'll save them for when he gets back. Are you back? Sorry. Okay. A question then. Normally, is it not a case that the post-conviction stage, it's often the judge that heard the case in the first place that actually handles the post-conviction, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's another part of it. I mean, what judge is going to want to, claim, acknowledge that they may have done something wrong? I mean, that's another part of it. I mean, but yeah. But
then, is it not a case, though, that as far as Kathleen Zellner so far, she's actually managed to get it remanded twice from the Court of Appeals back to Judge Sukovich, which is pretty unheard of, So I think she's clearly doing getting the attention of Wisconsin, isn't she?
Well,
and
yeah, I mean
the appeals court, the appeals judges. But I get the fact that you don't want to be too optimistic. But I would say yes, that they are in a bigger hole than the MaM mine in Serbia. And why do you think it took 226 days for Lisa Comfer to copy and paste basically what she said the time before and some of Judge Angie Sukovich's stuff? How does it? I mean, do you think that she has a computer that's even slower than mine?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I mean, yeah, she basically went with procedural bar again, and mostly that's what's in there. I mean, when she gets to arguing about the merits, I mean, it gets funny because that's when she starts saying things like, it's not scientifically proven what those bones were. Well, if that's the case, why were you giving them back to the Halbach family? If they're just random possible human bones, what?
I'm going to say, yeah. I mean, if that's the case, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No, it just runs around like that. It's just and it's just like insane. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. It's just that if they haven't been scientifically tested, then what's our best assumption on what those bones are? What if we haven't had them scientifically tested, what's the best we can say about them? Well, the fact is that they apparently back in 07, 06, 07, there was it seemed that they matched Teresa quite a bit. But what happened to them? Did they? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but in that statement by the state, they don't even refer to them being handed back to the holdbacks, do they? They refer to them as being what's the word they use? It's disposed of or destroyed. That's right. The evidence was destroyed. Do they even acknowledge that they were handed back to the holdbacks? I don't think so.
Yes. Well, no, they do. Yes. The fact is they do say that they were given back the holdbacks. The whole point is
okay. Well, that's
they just keep making the argument that they haven't violated statute because there's nothing in the record to indicate that those. It's. I don't know. I'm interested to see what the Court of Appeals is going to think about this argument because it's like, isn't the Court of Appeals going to go? Then what the hell were you doing giving these bones back to the family? I mean, it's the instant question that begs when they make this argument. It's like, then what the were anybody doing giving these back? It's so yeah. It comes down to, in the end, it's going to be reasoned that, well, you guys had a suspicion that these were the victims' remains, and as well as other people who follow this case also had the same suspicion. And now they wanted to test those bones, but you've already given them, now the state, have already given them back to the hall box, which is, to me, tantamount to an admission that those are Teresa's bones, right? And yet they're dancing around it, saying, oh, well, it was never scientifically proven to be blah, 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 this and that, whatever. But, well, I disagree. I believe the suspect nature of Leslie Eisenberg's reports initially, where she was saying that she believed those were human bone fragments and everything. But then right before trial, it gets changed to possible human just before trial, conveniently, so that they, could argue that way at trial. I mean, it's just, when you look at that, and then, okay, after trial in 2011, here we are back at those bones again. Oh, and we're giving them back to the Hallbach family. Amazing. It tells you what the state really thought, that they believed those bones were Teresa's. They were desperate to have the jury not believe they were Teresa's at trial. That's why Ken says things like, I can't spend 20 seconds on that, and all that. I mean, they were desperate to make the jury believe those weren't Teresa's bones, and that's the fact. That's what they were doing, and so if those bones were to be proven to be Teresa's, scientifically, it would be bad for the state because that might have changed jurors' minds. So,
okay. So do we have a certain sympathy, I suppose, for Lisa Comfort in the fact that, this is nonsense that was created by Sweaty and Robot Voice and Crater Face, and they're nowhere to be seen. They've all disappeared. The rats have abandoned the ship. And now this Lisa Comfort is left trying to hold her finger in the wall of the dam, so to speak. Do we have any sympathy for her? She's got a very slow computer, obviously. Like I said, it took her all this time.
Judging by the way she argues this, judging by the way judging by how snarky, this thing is, no. I think she deserves, I think she deserves to be called out for what it is.
Yeah, but it's her job to try and put on some sort of a defense, isn't it, for the state?
Well, that's one thing, but you don't have to be snarky.
No,
being snarky, kind of shows it's personal.
Yeah. She's been handed a poison chalice, and most of the state have been left with no alternative because, if you remember, as soon as Making a Murderer came out, Brad Schimmel went on the telly to say, in interviews, to say that they'd already spoken that because the state hide behind the holdbacks, they'd even said that they would, if need be, they would retry Stephen Avery. They've given the holdbacks that assurance.
Well,
so to me, it seems like she is kind of stuck in a bit of a a bit of a problem.
Yeah, well, they're in a number of problems.
Yeah.
There's a number. For me, I think the three biggest things here are Zellner's appealing the decision of denying the original post-conviction order because of the way that all went down, with the way that the testing was being arranged, and the decision just suddenly came when nobody was expecting it, and that sort of stuff. So that's the one claim I think she's got big on. Number two, I think, is going to be the CD, because that is a Brady claim. It's was held in Tom Fassbender's personal custody for 12 years, handed over after Judge Sukowitz denied the original motion for post-conviction relief. I mean, if they're going to turn it over, folks, in good faith, they should have turned it over before. When Stephen was asking to get the bullet and all those things to do the scientific testing, when he was making his initial petition for scientific testing, the state should have popped up with the CD then, so that it could be made part of the 97406, right? As a whole. You see them in their argument, folks, complaining about Stevens bringing this piecemeal? Mm-hmm. These fucking bastards. They're complaining about him bringing this thing piecemeal. But because of them doing things by the way they handed over that CD, they have caused this thing to be piecemeal.
Yeah.
It's partially their own damn fault.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think the CD is going to be the second big thing. The third big thing that I think there's the biggest chance of success on is the bones. The violation of statute and the bones being given back to the Hallbox, and the state claiming that they're not really a Hallbox bones. Basically, that's what, to paraphrase what they're saying, that's what they're saying. That we haven't violated statute because they're not really Teresa.
Yeah.
So those are the three things that I feel that they're going to have the biggest chance of finding purchase and getting evidentiary hearings on. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the other one of the interesting things was the fact that when it came to item FL, we heard this argument that, well, the state never said that was the bullet that went through Teresa's head, and therefore there might not be bone on it, Right. But as Kathleen Zellner pointed out, they never presented the idea that that bullet went through any other part of her body.
Right.
They never presented it. That this is the bullet that went through part of her leg or part of her stomach,
Yeah. No, they tried to. No, you saw.
How do you explain wood? How do you explain wood? That Teresa was made of wood?
Right. And that's, that's another thing that they were arguing, is that they're trying to say that it was never asserted that this bullet passed through the skull or whatever. That's bull. There was somebody from the state who testified. Yes. And I said this in my video, who was basically saying that it had brain matter on it. Well, how do you get to the brain? Right?
Yep.
How do you get to the brain? I mean, so you are representing to the jury that this bullet passed through her skull. To get to the brain, it has to. Right? So that's, another thing about that. So, yeah.
Shall we quickly do the video then that I put together?
Did you finally find it?
I did, yes. Well, it was a case of getting it all set up. That was the problem. So I do apologize because it took a couple of moments. And if I do that, hopefully this will all work. I'm always, as you know, I'm always worried about using this sort of technology because sometimes I manage to crash even the simplest of programs, don't I? You had me panic then because you stopped talking and I thought, have I done it again? Have I done it again? Actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put it like that so that we can still see. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do it like that just for a change, okay?
Okay.
Because then we can see what's going on. And if I go to my other channel, dedicated to yourself, here is. The video.
Yeah, take your.
Sorry?
You might have to unplug your headphones. Oh no, there it is. There you go.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now, honestly, I have to make careful of this because what will happen is that it'll start playing another one, which I don't want it to do.
Right.
You see what I mean? I don't understand. I never asked it to play another video. I never asked it to do that, but it just does it.
Well, you see that little blue thing over there that says autoplay?
Yeah? Oh, no, I didn't. Sorry. Do I need to click on it, do I?
If you go over to the thing that said autoplay and click it off, it won't play another video.
Right. Thanks. Thank you. I will look for that one. I will look for that. Okay, and let's come out of that then. Stop screen sharing.
I leave autoplay on because I'm often listening to music through YouTube. So yeah. I want it to autoplay to another song. So
right, okay. So I never wanted to. So there you go. I'll click on that one there and get that sorted out.
So where's my parody?
It's as I say, I've been working on a lot of music. You know perfectly well. I've been making great strides. I have been working hard on that. But what I do need to do is the version that I've got. It doesn't have the accordion part later on, which goes like at a double speed. So I need to have a listen to that, and I need to figure out where that bit goes, and then when I record it for you, then it'll all be there. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So working on it. So when does Kathleen Zellner, once she's finished rolling about the floor in laughter at this pathetic response, when does she have to post a response by? Is it a case that she can reply anytime between now and like a couple of weeks time, or is there?
I think it's something like she has like. I
heard about the 11th of June, but is it a case that she has to do it before the 11th of June, or is it from 11th of June onwards that she can reply?
No, I believe it's before the 11th of June.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I thought it was like 15 days to reply, and so
yeah.
that's what the 11th of June would be, I think. So.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And I mean, she must be rolling around on the floor laughing at the moment at the pathetic effort to try and cover CYA as you so eloquently told me about many years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's a sticky business because it depends if the Court of Appeals is going to kind of take the attitude towards this procedural bar, all this, type of argument that they used before that the Court of Appeals kind of poo-pooed. So, I mean, it's going to depend on what attitude the Court of Appeals takes to what the state says here. But honestly, the state is using established law. That's the problem here. And that they're kind of deflecting a lot of this because they're trying to use procedural bar and all this other technicality crap to get out of it. And that's what's allowed in post-conviction. That's why the awareness is needed, so that people can start to take an interest and go, okay, wait, this isn't right. People, because if people know, I mean, roll with me on this, folks. If people know and get more acquainted and aware of the fact that wrongful convictions do happen, they will then by default think, okay, wait, I want this process for post-conviction to be a little bit more fair, seeing as there is a substantial amount of data and everything to suggest that we are making mistakes. I would like the post-conviction process to, be less, what's the word I'm looking for? Oppressive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
draconian.
Yeah, but right now the way it is, it's like it's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
They can just tell you F you for frivolous, dumb reasons, even if you have a good reason to be there.
Mm.
And yeah. So.
Yeah, I got this sense that there was a certain amount of shift in the goalposts when it suited them, and a little bit like other people have pointed out, pot kettle black. As you say, the fact that it's coming in piecemeal. Well, yes, because as Zellner finds more and more information, that's exactly what it's going to be. And as I say, I did find it laughable, this idea that the state are concerned about clogging up the court system. Well, how hellish would it be if we discovered that that we were clogging up the court system trying to free somebody that's actually innocent, that's been wrongfully convicted.
Right.
It was just bizarre. The other thing I picked up was the fact that, to a certain extent, Lisa Comfort and the state didn't really want to argue too much about the evidence, did they? As I say, they only took their sort of slant on it, and mainly it was the fact that this could have been done earlier, that could have been done earlier. Mm-hmm. Is that a case of they don't really want to get much into the argument? Because it's stuff that will come out in a evidentiary hearing, but they really are afraid, I would say, of making matters worse by anything else they say.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, that could be. And maybe the strategy is argue procedural bar, and if it doesn't work, then it comes out in an evidentiary hearing. But at least we're not going to be giving it to them in our briefs, right? But I mean, that could be the strategy,
Yeah, but they've already gone for this procedural bar defense once before, haven't they? And was basically given a bit of
by one judge. Yeah, by one
O'Reilly.
Judge.
Yeah, and the same judge.
Mainly to do with the fact that the state had suggested that Avery should drop his current appeal to pursue the bone issue, and that was what kind of set one of the judges off there at the appeals court. So, it's like I said, it could just be a minimalist strategy, like you're suggesting, where they're just choosing not to say much themselves. They're just going to argue procedural bar, and if arguing procedural bar and conclusory assumptions fails, then it'll be in an evidentiary hearing, and it'll come out in the evidentiary hearing. But basically, the idea is they aren't going to give it up themselves. And they'll argue procedural bar until it fails.
Right. Okay.
At least that's the way I'm interpreting it, or the way I'm kind of thinking it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in looking at, for example, the case of Michael West and Dr. Hain, the number of times then, cases that should have been looked at that the pair of them were involved with, and people were being procedurally barred because they hadn't brought their their sort of appeal to the appeals court within a year of nobody could establish what year it was that everybody knew that this Stephen Hain was discredited, but they would just move the goalposts, and I think this is too big a case for them to simply sit back and say, that for the state to say, oh well, they're procedurally barred, and then for the appeal court to say, oh well, do you know what? We can't really be bothered with this. Yeah, we'll just go with that. I just can't see that being the case. It is such a big case, and there are so many issues with this.
Yeah. Well, there are some factual issues that are a serious problem for Stephen. Namely, well, there's one. And for me, that's the blood in the RAV4. I mean, that's the biggest the biggest one they have trouble with, because it's, you know, it's one piece of evidence that is difficult to manufacture. So that's the one part of the case that's, you know, and even Zellner knows that particular evidence in this case is probably the biggest one to overcome. But beyond that, when you look at all the other evidence and how it all so obviously just looks tampered with, planted, incongruous. I mean, any number of words you want to use for all of the other pieces of evidence that make them stick out like sore thumbs. And it just, for me, it just means if it's happening here and every other one of these places, it's happening there too. That's why that blood in the rab looks suspicious. It's just, how did they do it and who, you know, but, you know.
I must just point out that earlier today I got in touch with Eric is Banana Man, and and said, is it all right if I do a quick video and talk about your post on Reddit? And he said, yeah, that's fine, but there's better. It was his words. He said, there's better stuff by TikTok Manitwalk, AC Rookie, and Henry. So
yeah,
worth putting up a message from
AC
from
Rookie.
Henry.
I've seen he's been putting up some stuff. I haven't seen anything from TikTok Manitwalk yet. I didn't see anything from him specifically. But I did see a fair amount of AC's posts.
Yeah, and Henry, I completely concur with that. You know, to continually, right.
Yes,
reference.
I felt like at certain times during that response, I felt like the state was like, we don't want to touch this ourselves. So here, we're just going to say what Judge Flowers, or how she argued it, you know?
Yeah.
And they were just like inserting what she said. It's just like, you're showcasing for the Court of Appeals that the circuit court judge was playing ADA here. Okay. That's interesting. We'll see how that flies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let me just so yes, we've also come across some tweets by Jerry. Jerry's been quite vocal, hasn't he? He mentioned something in one of his tweets that there's 24 mentions of, is it piecemeal? Procedurally barred and
right
and all that kind of stuff. Look, I can't help thinking that, as I say, the state, as they said, they didn't want to come up with too much. You know, they're going to have to. Well, it's going to be interesting. It's not going to be that long before we get Kathleen Zellner's response. Although the Post-Crescent asked for a response, she'll probably be sort of, as I say, digesting it and having a good laugh at it.
I like this one here. Jerome Beauty. The state's brief in Avery largely deflects from the merits of claims by instead arguing procedural obstacles. Brief mentions procedural barred 24 times, insufficiently pled 24 times, and forfeited 12 times, elevating form over substance. That was one of the ones that I read.
And also it was amazing for me how they were basically, when you read through it, it seemed as if, you know, Dean and Jerry did this absolutely wonderful job, you know, of defending, and that there would be no need, therefore, to have any kind of ineffective assistance of counsel. And yet at the same time, there's many occasions when it's referring to the fact that, you know, Mr. Avery should have done this and should have done that and should have done the other. Well, you know, what's the truth? You know, where's the center of the pitch on this?
Yeah.
Was it the fact that that they. I mean, for me, I think Dean and Jerry did the best job they possibly could, bearing in mind that they don't have all the evidence given to them. They have it hidden from them.
Yeah.
In the most devious of ways.
And obscured and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
So
it's like the state was playing a shell game with Discovery.
Yeah.
You know.
So I mean, really, I suppose the question then is what is there that really Zellner has to address in a response?
Well, she's going to address
it's not like they've really presented that much, have they? That they haven't.
Zellner's going to argue. Well, Zellner's going to be responding with why the procedural bars are overcome, and why the conclusions are more than conclusory. That's what she's going to be coming back with. She's got to respond to what the state. Basically, she's got to reply to what the state talked about in this brief. So if the state's talking about procedural bars and conclusory, whatever conclusions and everything or whatever, then that's what Zellner's going to be attacking, and she's going to be talking about how this overcomes the procedural bar and how this blah blah blah, and how this is sufficiently pled, and how Avery is not has not forfeited, whatever, and she's going to have to address all these things like the state is claiming. And, like I said, we'll see how it goes. But it's like I say, I think with the three main things I mentioned earlier are probably going to be the big things. The original denying of the 97-406 motion originally when they were arranging with the state to do scientific testing. And suddenly, before anybody thought it was coming, Judge Flowers made her decision. Second thing is going to be the CD, Brady violation. Third thing, the bones. Those, I believe, are going to be the biggest chance of finding purchase.
What do you think inspired Judge Angie Sutkovich to intervene so suddenly?
Well, I think it could have been the letter that Zellner sent over. It wasn't an official correspondence, basically letting the judge know that they were doing more testing, but she had sent a letter over, basically talking about the fact that she was arranging with Fallon and everybody to do more testing and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. They hadn't sent anything over to the court yet because Fallon was just finalizing getting all the evidence collected in that Calumet where they could all meet there to do it. And
get it done before the bad
letter that mentioned that she was doing that with Thomas Fallon to Judge Sukowicz. And suddenly, within a day or two of that letter being sent, the decision comes. Boom. And it's like, it's an interesting timing. And then when you add to the fact that was a huge, huge motion. It's over 1,000 pages, that motion. I mean, there was a lot there. And she basically took less time on that than she did on any of the shorter motions that came after it, supplements and all the various things that came after it. She really took a lot more time on those than she did on the really, really big 1,000-page one. So.
Do you think it was done in order to shut down any more possible testing?
Sorry?
Do you think that she intervened in that way in order to shut down any more possible testing?
I mean, you got to wonder.
People within the DOJ.
I'm not actually here casting accusations, but I'm saying the timing is a little bit odd. And so one might draw that conclusion. I think it's reasonable that people might draw that conclusion.
Okay. Very
just a second again so I can take a call. Sorry, guys.
Very diplomatically put. You take your call. We're going to finish up now because I'm sure there's going to be lots of other people that are going to be doing various videos throughout the evening here in Siberia and during the afternoon in America. So once we have the dude back, then we'll just finish up on that. I haven't actually got around to reading the whole shebang myself. It's just so heavy going, isn't it? It's I've watched a few videos where people have talked about it. So no, I'm not going to not going to waste time reading all the way through it when it's so repetitive. One wonders why they needed the extension to 35,000 words. Was it simply the fact that it was a case of sort of trying to give the impression, the illusion that they'd actually taken it seriously, that the state were actually taking it serious and giving a serious response. I mean, and looking at every item with their completely blinkered way of looking at it. That would be my impression anyway. Yeah. It took me 2 days to read that. Yeah, I've not even finished it. I don't know that I'll bother finishing it. It's not that. It's not that interesting, really. You kind of knew what was going to be in it. Where I think we all kind of speculated that it was going to be a case of the state just relying on the fact that Sukovich had done a lot of denying. I think that was always going to be the case. Anyway, if the dude is away, then we could always. Can I put that video back up for you? Hold on a sec. Cancel that because I would need to find the actual. No, that's what I was gonna. Yeah, let's. Oh, this is typical. This is typical of when you're trying to do something and it just crashes. So just bear with me a moment. We'll get that sorted. Sometimes it takes a couple of moments just for the screen to clear itself.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Hello there. How you doing? I'm playing about with this. I was trying to put stuff on screen again. I was just saying, that I was just going to say cheerio to everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Yeah. I was saying that there was a lot of. There'll probably be plenty of other videos coming up over the course of this afternoon and this evening. Are you planning on doing something? I know you've got something.
Well, there's something going on tonight with Linus, folks. He's got a little project he's working on.
That's it, yeah.
Linus over on Twitter.
Linus Knight, yeah.
Yeah, so tonight around, I think he's saying around 8 or 9 Central, he wants to have a little kind of get together, whatever kind of meeting of the minds to kind of just chat about certain aspects of this project that he's kind of thinking about doing. So there's that tonight. Folks, tomorrow morning I am going to be having an interview with a very big name in the innocence world. I'm going to be doing it pre-recorded. You guys can expect to see it Sunday. Okay. About somewhere between 1 and 3 Central on Sunday. It's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. So I will be doing that interview tomorrow morning and getting a video put together for Sunday. It should be at least 45 minutes, but I'm hoping it's going to be about an hour premiere on Sunday. So everybody be ready for that one. I don't want to say too much because some people are going to guess what it may be, and some people may not know and might be pleasantly surprised. So I'll leave it to whichever camp you end up in, but it's going to be fun. So I encourage everybody to be looking out for that on Sunday.
Excellent. Okie dokie. Well, I've managed to completely crash StreamYards, although the video is still going. My screen has completely crashed, so I'm probably going to have to sort of try and end it by just switching off the computer. So if that's the case, so be it. But
or try refreshing.
Well, yeah,
it might work anyway. Dr. Pepper and Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Wait a second. No, it's Dr. Pepper and Scotch for me.
Yeah. Does it work? Does it?
I don't know. I've never had it. I generally take my Scotch straight.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna close the program then. That's how I'm gonna finish it. Okay?
Alrighty, everybody. We'll see you.
So look forward to. Sorry, when did you say you're recording the video tomorrow?
I'm going to be doing the interview tomorrow morning. The video I plan to upload Sunday midday.
Right, and but you've got a live tonight anyway, haven't you? You had planned anyway. You thought it was going to be today that the state were going to respond. Is that right?
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
I thought you had something planned anyway, a video for today.
I didn't have anything planned for today other than
what
I said about Linus. So.
Okay. Well, in that case, if you do decide to, we shall look forward to that. Anyway, Mr. Erekose,
I'll probably end up doing something else today, most likely. Haven't decided what that might be just yet, but there's a good chance.
Yes, it would. Erekose in his natural habitat, you can't separate the two, can you? So anyway, thank you for joining me. We'll catch you later. Okay. Thanks everybody else for joining in, contributing, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Everybody. Cheers. Bye for now.